All right, we're at it again. April 19th, 2022. And let's take a look at today. A mean uptrend today. So in the overnight, this was the overnight highs and lows. You can see at a measured move, that's where we met resistance. But in the overnight, it looked like the bias was down. So I guess what you could have looked at was probably something like this spike. This is really a spike and channel down. And when that breaks, that's when it starts to reverse. So you'd have to draw it off these two lows. You get a nice leg up here. But if you draw off these two lows, you can see later in the day that does indeed help you. So anyway, big uptrend today. I think the first trade comes right here. This is where I would consider it. So we hit off this midline and keep going lower. So you get a first entry, failed second entry. Now that's a very bearish bar, but you're going into a price level that's been tested a couple times. So it's aggressive. We make this higher low here. And yeah, this actually confirms that my trend channel, I need to steepen it a little bit. Let's go with that. Yeah, it probably needs to be a little steeper than that to go off these closes. But anyway, then we move up, and I don't see anything I really like. This is first, technically, the failure comes here, and then we're just chopping around with an upward bias, really, until we get up here. You can see these consistent higher highs. Get a first entry, second entry right here off the opening price, but that's below the EMA. And then we get this higher low right here. And I like that. After making these consecutive higher highs and higher lows, I think this is a good entry. And we form this range right here. You can see. Let's say you'd be playing that maybe, and you get a first entry. So this is really, it looks like a second entry. Technically, it's a third entry, but this looks like one leg down, one leg correction, second leg down, boom. Okay. Let's see, is that a very high risk bar though? 175. Yeah, so that's almost a 6-point bar. So, but that forms a spike in channel. You see this yellow, I think that's yellowish channel right there. So I mean, at this point, you're pretty confident, or you should be pretty confident, that this is a mean uptrend. And so when Max says that, he says you should, or you can take just about anything off these trend lines. So if you're feeling aggressive, you see all these dojis, you get a first entry, second entry long off this spike and channel line, and then you get a first entry, goes down, second entry. So you'd probably have to enter on that engulfing bar, and you're going into the highs. This one's higher risk than this one, because this one you're going into the highs. But then we find resistance and break this yellow channel and break this larger steep channel right here. And then we form another spike in channel. And so this looks like a first entry, second entry to me. I think technically it's a third entry. So I really like this. This is a high probability setup on a day like today. So even though it's green, I'm sure you could argue for it to be blue. You get a first entry, failed second entry. This one's definitely riskier, not near the EMA, but it is off the short-term trend channel. And then we get a break of that channel, and I think I looked at this as just testing. Okay, yeah, that's what I was looking at. So we form this level of resistance. We break out of it, test it once, test it a second time. It confirms, well, it further confirms this spike in channel up right here. It's just not a good signal bar. But if you're going to be aggressive, you should be aggressive on a day like today. So then we form what is eventually turns out to be this pink range area. But we don't really know that just yet. And we make two pretty convincing legs down, but right after that we make two convincing legs up. And you get a first entry, failed second entry short. People who are feeling risky might take this, but it's on the wrong side of the EMA. And then here you got, I just marked this because I took this. This looked like a hidden failure. I know I shouldn't be taking hidden failures, but you know, we have this like wedge formation kind of with this level of support, and you get people trying to go lower once, twice. So really, it's just like a second entry higher low, but the signal bar isn't good for that. So yeah, it's an aggressive, very aggressive movement. I shouldn't have it marked, but I marked it anyway. Now you get a first entry here, second entry. I just didn't like how that signal bar finished. But it gets you a scalp, and then we trade down, and you get this higher low, and this is a really good. So you have your suspected level of support down here, as could have been found from this midline, and then you get a bounce. You have this. This just looked like a really good trap, and it ended up it was. So we have this downtrend. We have a break, 2 legs down to a new low, and that creates a higher low with space back to the EMA to scalp out. It's at this level of support, great signal bar, and that gets you a really nice move. And then we make this double top, and when we turn down yet again off this level of support, that's when I felt comfortable going short. So you get a second entry short right here. If you look at this as a double bottom, that is second entry short, but really I just looked at it as a kind of like a double top and a lower high with plenty of room to scalp out before the EMA. You might have looked at this as a failed second entry long, even though this is a double top and a super bearish bar right there. And then we come back to our trend channel for the day, the trend line, the support line. So if you're feeling yourself, and we got to match it, pretty much a double bottom right here with that really bullish signal bar with room back to the EMA. That's aggressive, but I like that. And then when you get this higher low and another higher low, I think you got to take that. That's a failure, and it confirms our trend channel for the day. And that's really all I saw. I didn't like anything else in here. You can see we're selling off a little closer to the, after the market closed. So there's one more look at it. Hope everyone had a blessed day. I'll be back tomorrow.